I guess I want to welcome you to a brand new YouTube channel titled Education Frees Us All. It's something that I truly believe in. I believe that all the world's problems can be traced back to a lack of education. Education eradicates racism. Education eradicates prejudices in the classes. Education is what has propelled us as human beings forward, and the lack of education, well, actually, an argument can be made that education that propelled us forward is also what keeps us technically locked in the dark ages, but also the lack of education is what makes life tremendously difficult for many, many people. That being said, I wanted to introduce what this channel is about, what this channel is going to be moving forward. I want everybody to understand that these are my opinions, these are my views, this is my belief, this is my faith. If you agree with it, great. If you don't agree with it, try not to be tremendously hateful in the comments that you leave behind, but, you know, you're free to be whoever it is that you are on the inside. But there's a number of topics that I feel passionate about, that I really want to speak to. The first and the foremost is a walk of faith. I believe that everybody in this life owes it to themselves to answer the question, was Jesus who he professed to be? And I think that if you leave this life without answering that for yourself, and what I mean by answering that is you have to do the work. You can't say, well, I read this or I heard that, and based on that, I just think, or I just feel, or you can rationalize not doing the work. But I think that you owe it to yourself to do the work. If you do nothing else in this life, it is a life well worth lived if you do the work to find out, was Jesus who he claimed to be? Because the one thing that I believe, and this is my belief, if Jesus was not who he professed to be, then there is no God. And you don't have to worry about anything. So that becomes a great reason to look into this historic person. Because if Jesus wasn't the Son of God and Jesus didn't die to free humanity from a fall that happened, thousands and thousands of years ago, then there is no God. You don't have to answer to anybody. You're free to do whatever you want. And we'll discuss that in depth on a later video. But there's also things that I'm tremendously passionate about. I've always been a bit of a treasure hunter, going in and out of antique shops and pawn shops and, flea markets and garage sales. And the things that I have had the most interest in, and subsequently the things that I've made the most money on as a side venture, has been guitars, camera equipment, coins of different types of precious metals, and men's wristwatches. And I love all of those things. I mean, I just can't get enough of them. I have volumes and volumes of books. that tell me how to authenticate and how to verify if, these things are authentic. And the third thing that I'm tremendously passionate about is food. I grew up, my parents were in the restaurant business. I grew up in a restaurant. I've always been kind of an amateur enthusiast / foodie. And I guess the rest of it we're just going to make up as we go along. I wish that I could tell you that it's going to be fun. But unfortunately, some of my viewpoints don't come across as fun. But I just hope that it'll be interesting. I hope that the interaction between, cyber world and myself is something that becomes amicable. And if not, that's okay. I just feel like I have a voice and that this is a platform in which that voice can be heard. So, welcome.